Assalamu alaikum. I would be discussing bucket versioning today. So, what exactly is bucket versioning? Bucket versioning essentially allows us to keep multiple variations of the same object in the same bucket, which essentially helps us in delete protection and override protection. So, what exactly happens is that if we delete an object where bucket versioning has been enabled, S3 would insert a delete marker in place of that object instead of actually deleting that object, and then that delete marker becomes the current version of that object. And in the case of overwriting, if an object is being overwritten, or if an object has been overwritten, what happens is that the new object becomes the current version, as that object is assigned a new ID. So that new ID becomes the current version, and the older version can later be retrieved, right? So by default, versioning is disabled, but for the case of this demo, I have already enabled the bucket versioning. So let's have a look at the flow of how this happens with pictorial diagrams. So here we go. For example, the names are actually keys of each of each object that we store. So for example, if versioning is enabled, AWS would assign a unique key for each object that we upload. A unique ID for each object that we load up, which we upload. In this case, as you can see that there is a collision. The collision means that, for example, we have two keys that are same, and then of course these keys are supposed to land in the same place, right? So the older version was like tetra 1 1 1 1 1, and the new object has been given a new ID. So what happens is that AWS assigns a unique ID to each object that is being put into our bucket if versioning is enabled. However, if versioning is disabled, each object would have the ID of each object would be null, right? So by enabling versioning, we are essentially enabling to get unique IDs per object, per unique object. So how exactly this works? So what happens is that, for example, whenever we have a collision in the sense that, for example, this photo GIF, this key is the photo GIF, right? And these all of these objects have the same key, right? So of course these are supposed to land in the same place. So what AWS would do, it does that it assigns unique keys to each object, and the latest key would become the current version of the object. And for example, when we delete an object, what happens is that it places a delete marker in place of that object. For example, instead of actually deleting the object, even though that object is over there, this is physically over here, but AWS has assigned a delete marker to this. So if someone wants to search for this object, right, they would get a 404 object not found, because there's a delete marker over here. However, in reality, the object would actually be over there. And for example, if you want to return, if you want a unique version, sorry, a unique ID, what happens that we can specifically request for a specific version of the object by specifically identifying its unique ID. So if we provide the unique ID, we can get that unique object. Yes, we can also delete these objects. We can, if you want to permanently delete an object, in the previous case, where we were deleting an object, that the alias was assigning a delete marker to that object, right? But if we actually want to delete an object, what we would do, that we would specifically assign the unique ID that we want to delete, for example, 121212. Only in this case we would be actually able to delete this object. Now let's have a look at the demonstration. For example, objects. This is the object that I had uploaded yesterday, and I do not have. Yes. So what happens is that I deleted this object, and then if I enable the versions, I can see all the older versions as well. So this is the delete marker, right? Which means that if I search for this object, I would get this will actually be deleted. I won't be able to find this. However, this object is actually over here. So let me upload a new something new. For example, let's upload a picture of this cat. See, this picture has been uploaded, and if I delete this, yeah, it will say the object has been deleted successfully. So let's go back to my bucket, and see, I can't see my deleted object or my deleted cat picture over here. But if I have a look at the versions, I can see that uh, the ID, actually there's a delete marker in front of my object, so I can't really, so it appears that this has been deleted. How this has been deleted. However, in reality, this object is right over here. Now, if I want to permanently delete this object, I will have to specify this version. For example, this I would click on delete because I'm specifying that specific ID, right? And I would have to write permanently delete. This would allow me to successfully delete this object, right? This has been deleted. So let's go back and have a look. So versions, and so this actually has been deleted. So this is just a delete marker. So this is actually nothing. So actually my actual object has been deleted. Has been deleted. It's just the marker that is lying over here. So this is actually useless because it's 0 bytes long. So I think this is enough for the demonstration. Thank you.